Let's go with this. The coils are used are form wound and are of the cylindrical type. The general form of these coils may be circular, oval or rectangular. In small size core type transformers, a simple rectangular core is used with cylindrical coils, which are either circular or rectangular in form. But for large size core type transformers, round or circular cylindrical coils are used, which are so wound as to fit over a cruciform core section as shown. The circular cylindrical coils are used in most of the core type transformers because of their mechanical strength. Such cylindrical coils are wound in helical layers with the different layers insulated from each other by paper, cloth, micarta board, or cooling ducts. The figure on the next slide shows that the general arrangement of these coils. This is what I'm going to show you with respect to the core. Okay? Yan. Insulating cylinders of the Fuller board are used to separate the cylindrical windings from the core and from each other. So you may see it like this, no, that it is separated. Although for high voltage and low voltage, it is somehow um, on the same place, but it is insulated. Okay. So now, since the low voltage winding is easiest to insulate, it is placed nearest to the core itself. Okay. What do you mean by easiest to insulate? Meaning it is easiest to for its insulation to corrode, no? This is easiest to insulate, no? Easiest to get insulated. Yan. Next, because of the laminations and insulation, the net or effective core area is reduced. Due allowance for which has to be made. It is found that in general, the reduction in cross-sectional area, a core sectional area, due to the presence of papers, surface oxide, and etc., is of the order of 10% approximately. As pointed out in the previous slide, rectangular cores with rectangular cylindrical coils can be used for small size core type of transformers, but for large size transformers, it becomes wasteful to use rectangular cylindrical coils, and so circular cylindrical coils are preferred. For such purposes, square cores may be used where circles represent the tubular former carrying the coils. Obviously, a considerable amount of useful space is still wasted. When you look at the diagram below, um, this depends on the context of your transformer. Let's say the rating, its voltage rating, okay, and its wattage. Now, a common improvement on the square core is to employ cruciform core, which demands at least two sizes of core strips. For very large transformers, further, core stepping is done where at least three sizes of core plates are necessary. Core stepping not only gives high space factor but also results in reduced length of the mean turn and the consequent I squared R loss. So remember that when currents are flowing through the coil, okay, and of course your coil has a resistive component, so there is this what? There is this copper loss, I squared R loss, or what we call the copper loss. Three-step core is one of the most commonly used, although more steps may be used for very large transformers. From the geometry of the figure in the previous slide, it can be shown that the maximum gross core section for the third figure from the left is 0.5 d squared. This is what we're talking about, that one. And for the next figure, it is 0.616 d squared. Okay? Where d is the diameter of the cylindrical coil. Not last, but the other form, the other type. Okay, so we have the another type of transformer. For shell type, in this case also the coils are form wound but are multi-layered disc, usually wound in the form of pancakes. The different layers of such multi-layer discs are insulated from each other by paper. Okay, that's for the shell type. The complete winding consists of stacked discs with insulation space between the coils, the spaces forming the horizontal cooling and insulating ducts. Shell type of transformers may have a simple rectangular form as shown in the figure, or it may have distributed form as shown. A very commonly used shell-type transformer is the one known as the Berry transformer, so called after its name after the name of its designer and its cylindrical in form. Usually for Berry type transformer, um, we use it with auto transformer. Okay, we'll talk about auto transformer after some time. The transformer core consists of laminations arranged in groups which radiate out from the center as shown. So usually we use the Berry transformer when you have only one winding, okay, and then you are going to choose or to adjust it to a desired amount of voltage which is lower than uh the the maximum voltage that we can equip with the transformer itself. Transformers are generally housed in tightly fitted sheet metal tanks filled with special insulating oil. This oil has been highly developed and its function is twofold. Okay, first, by circulation, it's not only to keep the coils reasonably cool, but second, also provides the transformer with additional insulation, not obtainable when the transformer is left in the air. It is it is needed not to put oil because we know that when current flows through the coil, there will be heating portion of it. Okay, and to cool it, we have the air or oil. Okay, we'll talk about it in a while. In cases where a smooth tank surface does not provide sufficient cooling area, the sides of the tank are corrugated or provided with radiators mounted on the sides. Good transformer oil should be absolutely free from alkalis, sulfur, and particularly from moisture. The presence of even an extremely small percentage of moisture in the oil is highly detrimental from the insulation viewpoint because it lowers the dielectric strength of the oil considerably. Transformers are generally housed in tightly fitted sheet metal tanks filled with special insulating oil. This I think this is I discussed this one already. Okay. Okay, next. The importance of avoiding moisture, yes, in the transformer oil is clear from the fact that even addition of 8 parts of water in 1 million reduces the insulating quality of the oil to a value generally recognized as below standard. Hence, the tanks are sealed airtight in smaller units. In the case of large size types of transformers, where complete airtight construction is impossible, chambers known as breathers are provided to permit the oil inside the tank to expand and contract as its temperature increases or decreases. There are chambers known as breathers, okay? And the goal of a breather is to cool the transformer, okay? Or tawag doon, it's to cool the transformer itself. Okay? Now, um, there is this a particular uh, um, element in breathers known as hydrogen. Okay? The hydrogen is used for the cooling of the transformer itself. Okay? I mean, no, not cooling, but to uh to absorb the moisture. Okay? To absorb the moisture. So now, the atmospheric moisture is entrapped in these breathers and is not allowed to pass onto the oil. Another thing to avoid in the oil is sledging, which is simply the decomposition of oil with long and continued use. There is sledging. Why is that? Because if you try to imagine this, let's say you are cooking. No, you use an oil for cooking. Then after some time, the oil becomes not pale yellow, but it becomes dark yellow, dark brown. Okay? So now, um, that's where sledging happens. Sledging is caused principally by exposure to oxygen during heating and results in the formation of large deposits of dark and heavy matter that eventually clogs the cooling ducts in the transformer. That's why there are research or there are theses about this one about the replacement of the oil or which material to be used and a lot more of this. No other feature in the construction of the transformer is given more attention and care than the insulating materials because the life on the unit almost solely depends on the quality, durability, and handling of these materials. All the insulating materials are selective on the basis of their high quality and ability to preserve high quality even after many years of normal use. For very high voltage transformers or for multi-winding design, shell-type construction is preferred by many manufacturers. In this type, usually, the mean length of coil turn is longer than the comparable core-type design. Both core and shell forms are used, and the selection is decided by many factors such as voltage rating, kVA rating, weight, insulation stress, heat distribution, and etc. Now, let's go with another classification of transformers. Another means of classifying the transformers is according to the type of cooling employed. The following different types of transformer are in common use. First, the oil-filled self-cooled. Another is the oil-filled water-cooled and the air blast type. This is the way the transformer is being cooled. Okay? Small and medium-sized distribution transformers, so called because of their use on the distribution system, are distinguished from line transmission, are of type A. So usually for the line transmission, we use the oil-filled self-cooled. Okay? The assembled windings and cores of such transformers are mounted in a welded, oil-tight steel tank provided with steel cover. After putting the core at its proper place, the tank is filled with purified, high-quality insulating oil. The oil serves to convey the heat from the core and the windings to the case from where it is radiated out of the surroundings. For small size, the tanks are usually smooth surfaced, but for larger sizes, the cases are frequently corrugated or fluted to get greater heat radiation area without increasing the cubical capacity of the tank. Still, larger sizes are provided with radiators or pipes. Construction of very large self-cooled transformers is expensive. A more economical form of construction for large transformers is provided in the oil-immersed water-cooled type. As before, the windings of the core are immersed in the oil, but there is mounted near the surface of the oil a cooling oil through which cold water is kept circulating. The heat is carried away by this water. The largest transformers, such as those used with high voltage transmission lines, are constructed in this manner. Oil-filled transformers are built for outdoor duty, and as these require no housing other than their own, a great saving is thereby affected. These transformers require only periodic inspection. For voltages below 25,000 volts, transformers can be built for cooling by means of an air blast. The transformer is not immersed in oil but is housed in a thin sheet metal box open at both ends through which air is blown from bottom to the top by means of a fan or blower. So usually these can be classified as the dry type. Okay? Okay? So with that said, that's all uh for the construction and operation of transformer. Okay? So see you in the next video.